Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this Appium series, today we are going to see the changes that are coming to the Appium inspector and how do we really use it. So now before, if you would have used the Appium inspector before, there wasn't a isolated application where you can install and then get started with. You have to have the Appium desktop actually. So in the Appium, like if you go to the Appium here, you will see there is something called as Appium desktop actually. So by using that desktop tool, you will be getting the, like if you will go here, you will install this Appium desktop, and then from here when you say start server, then you would have seen that the Appium inspector. But now what they did with respect to the couple of changes they did with Appium, now they have kept this particular utility into a separate package actually, or separate repo. So now without installing the Appium desktop, you can install the Appium inspector. Now this is to support the latest version of the Appium, that is 2.x. Now if you see this Appium desktop, this is still in 1.x version only. The latest is 1.22 only. So that is why they kept as a separate, so that those who are using the Appium 2.0 or the beta versions, they can use this Appium inspector to inspect their elements. Now it's a very straightforward stuff. What is this utility? This is to inspect your mobile applications, whether it is Android or iOS. You can inspect the elements of your mobile application so that you can automate them. Okay, now how do I install this Appium inspector? Simple, just go to the releases here, like you can take the latest version here, and then if you come back here, there are a couple of different flavors of this, like different platforms. If you are using Windows, you can take this zip file, or you can even go with this exe file, so you can download and install. If you are on Macintosh operating system or the Mac laptops, you can use the .dmg file. Now you just download it, double click the image file or the DMG file, you will be installed that. How do I really open it? So what you can do, you can go to the spotlight search, and then here you need to say that Appium inspector. That's it. After successful install, you have to just enter it and it should pop up your Appium inspector actually. And as you can see that the Appium inspector is looking like this. It is pretty much similar. There is no difference that you would have seen from last time. And now if you have installed from the separate GitHub repo from the Appium. But then there are a couple of changes that I wanted to inform actually this time. So you can have as usual all the different cloud providers, like these are the different cloud providers that you can register or get or you can pay to kind of get the license, and then you can install your applications, mobile application into any one of these services, and you just select it, and then you can see that these things are coming here, and then you just need to choose which provider you want. If I want to have my local inspection, I will be just clicking on this first tab. If you are hosting your applications into the Source Lab, you can just give their username and the key that they have provided, and then you can give couple of capabilities. The same thing with the browser stack. Now if you are in local, because it is local, it's already by default taken as the local host, and then it is hosting into the 4723 port only. Okay, now the next thing is that what is the basic setup that I need to do to inspect a particular element. Now for this, I already made ready my simulator. You can see that this is my iOS simulator. Okay, here I have installed this particular application, a source demo. This is one of the React.js application actually. It's a very straightforward and self-understandable application. There is nothing really we need to talk about this at this moment, but I want to inspect actually probably all these elements. Let's say for an example, how do I do that? Now we know that to inspect these elements, first we need to identify which device this application is present. Once that is done, there are a lot of different applications that are there, right? Now which application? First thing is that which device. The second question is that which application. So these two things we need to uniquely provide to this Appium inspector so that it can identify that. Now for this I have couple of capabilities that I have set it up, but I will just give an example. Now think about you are using the Appium iOS. Actually for iOS you want to check that. So now what you can do here, couple of things that you can add actually if you want to know what are the different capabilities. Now to understand what are the capabilities that the Appium has, if you go to this link here, it's pretty old actually. So this really big, I mean this is not old, but it is for the your previous Appium inspector if you are using it from the GUI. But then if you are using a special utility, I mean from this isolated utility, you just need to do couple of changes that I'm going to show. But then the key value pair would remain same, like the platform name, automation name, then the platform version, what is the device name, what is the application or the bundle ID, all these things all remain same. If you want to know the entire list, you can just scroll down and you get all the arguments that you need to provide in your Appium inspector. Okay, so now for an instance I have saved actually all these things. Like if I go here and just click on edit, you can see that now first thing is that I need to specify what is the OS that I'm using in my simulator or your real device. So their platform version was there before, the name was platform version, but now you need to append actually Appium : platform version. Okay, and then you need to give the version. Now if I go to my simulator, it is actually 15.5 and that is what I've specified here. Now the second thing is that Appium device name. Okay, so this is basically the what you call your simulator name that you need to provide, and if it is a real device you need to give the UDID of your device name. And if you see that the name is coming from here, okay, iPhone SE 3rd generation, so that is what I've specified. Now to understand this, how do I know here? If you see that the 3rd generation is not coming in bracket, but you have to specify in bracket. So the best way to identify that, what you can do, you have to go to your terminal. After launching your simulator, you just run this utility simctl and then list. Okay, so now this command will help you to list out all the simulators that are present after you installed your Xcode. Now if you see that these are the different what do you call device types that the Xcode is supporting. Now there is directly you need to search with boot actually here. Now search in this. Now you can see that currently this particular iPhone SE simulator is like booted. It means that it is launched. So you need to just copy paste this iPhone SE 3rd generation into your device name. Okay, bundle ID. So bundle ID is basically coming from the application itself. Like the developer of the application will give you the bundle ID for iOS. If you are using for Android, it would be the app package and app activity. How do you know that? So either you can talk to your developer, or there is a best way that you can get it from the code itself. Like let me show you that. Now this is the application that I have downloaded from here actually. So you can download again from the specific what do you call, if you see this zip file, right, this is for simulator, iOS simulator. Normally what happens, the iOS code that we are writing, there are two different flavors that we can get. One is the signed application. This is used actually for your real devices, the .apm, but this zip file will have .app. Okay, and this is very much specific, specifically designed for your simulators, which is not a signed one. If Android, you have the .apk. Now how do you know that? Go to this particular application, and if you go to this, like there is one thing, I will go to the iOS because this is the iOS application, and if you go inside this, right, there is info.plist. Normally the identifier will be inside this. Now if I go this, and you can see that bundle identifier, that is nothing but the bundle ID, but it is a variable. You can see that product underscore bundle identifier. Sometimes they hard code it, sometimes they take it from a specific file, actually separate file. Now let's try to search this product bundle identifier from our code actually here. Now if you go inside this, so let me just get inside. So this is my info playlist, right, or the info.plist. Now if you go inside the Xcode project, and come back here, and here you search that actually. Okay, and you can see here the product bundle identifier actually. Let me just zoom a bit more, and you can see that this is com.saucelabs.mydemoapp.rn, and this is basically inside your project.pbx project. Like if I go back, it is inside this actually. So first you need to search into the info.playlist. If it is not present, you need to come back to this particular location and get it. Mostly in different applications this would remain the same, but if it is different, always developer is there for you to give the information. So bundle ID I'm giving. Sometimes the bundle ID is not required. I'll tell you in a moment. Now the automation name, you need to specify whether you are using the Android or iOS. If it is iOS, you need to specify XQ test. If it is Android, you need to give UI automator 2 here, and that is, and you can see all these capabilities, right? I'm adding something called as Appium actually. In fact, this is colon actually. So Appium colon. Okay, so now let's run this actually. Now if I just click on this start session, you can see that it is giving an error actually, could not connect to server. So it means that there is one step that you need to do, that is you have to run your Appium server. See, I said, right, the Appium server don't have any UI because I have installed the Appium 2.x actually. So if you would have watched my previous video there, I have explained how to install the latest version of the Appium. So I will just click on enter actually after typing the Appium. Now once your Appium server is running, and you can see that it is the same port where it is running, and the same port is here as well. Now after giving all these details about that, if you click on this start session, and as you can see that it is giving me the entire application. I don't know why it is giving the home screen itself. Normally it should launch the application, but at this moment let me just launch the required application here, and then you just need to do a refresh here. Okay, now if you see, this layout is pretty much similar to the before, but then I can give you a couple of the components of this which would help you to use it as out of the box. Now you can see any action that I will do in this particular application, these things will be reflecting here. And now if you see, now if you click on anything, it will give you a couple of details here actually. Like you can see the iOS class chaining or the predicate string, the XPath, all these things you can see. Let's say that I want to highlight, I want to inspect this main button actually here, and you can see the accessibility ID is giving here. Okay, and then if you see that here, there is one good thing that I have seen, the session information. If you want to see here, it even gives you the Java code actually. So let's say that you want to really want to what you call automate or do the automation script, it gives you all the details. You just need to copy paste and do your stuff. You see that all the capabilities which we have added, those things are already listed here. And the same thing, it gives not just Java, but there are different other things as well. Like let's say if you are using the WebDriver IO, which is the latest now that is supporting the Appium as well. Now you can see the capabilities that is required. You can keep it inside your wdio.conf.ts file. So all these things it is even giving. So I really liked this interesting part. Okay, now coming back to this inspecting element, let's say that I want to inspect, so you can get the information actually here. Okay, all these things, the name, then the type, or like the accessibility. Sometimes you might need the element ID, you can even use that. Now let's do one thing, let me just get inside this, and now if you refresh here, it should give me the list that is present. You can see the same list is appearing here. Let's say I want to do a login, so you can see all the details here actually. So these things, or if you don't want to really type all these things, you can just scroll down here to different things and you can get all these things, and you can see it highlights automatically there. Either you can tap here and you will get to know, or else you tap in this right hand side and you get all the details about that. So that is how you can inspect it. Now let me close this, and then like even I will go to the home screen, or maybe to the refreshing. Oops, sorry. So I will just kill this application, let my Appium run as usual. Now I will again open my inspector actually, and then I will show you. So here at this moment I have shown how to get the what do you call application launched if you are using like what do you call your bundle ID, right? If you see here, I'm using the bundle ID. Now there is another way actually that you can use the app path itself. So let me just save it. And also whenever you are editing anything, you can even keep it for the future use. For an instance, let's say that I will say that the source app iOS underscore RN underscore bundle ID. So through this name I'm saving it. Now you can see before I saved a different name, now I'm saving it. You just need to click on this and then start session. Now I will show you the other way where I can even use the app path actually. Let's say I don't know the app bundle ID, how can I do? So I'm just deleting that. Now there is a way actually, you can give one more command actually, that is Appium : app. And now you need to specify the file path. You can see there are a lot of different options. Either you can text, boolean, number, JSON object, or even file path as well. Now if you click on this link, it goes to your directory and you can choose it. For some reason it is not allowing me to choose any of the application from the directory, but it should allow me. So whenever I'm choosing any of the app.app or the IPA file, it should automatically refresh this particular value field with the path. But no need to worry about that, though it is not automatically detecting. Even we have another way actually, let me show you that. So you can just right click and then you click on the option in your Mac keyboard and you can see that copy this path. So if you right click copy, it will copy the entire file, but we want the path name actually. So when I click on option key, you can see there is one new option is coming, and I will just choose that one. Come back to here, edit it, and then in this you just click on this one, okay, here, and then you can save it here. Now if you save it here, you can see that the path is updated here. Like this you can do. Now let's say that every time you run this start session, right, it will install your mobile application from this particular path, which I don't want actually. If it is already installed, then don't install it. That is the way I want to specify. So there is a command actually. If you go to the capabilities, it will give you that option. There is something called as no reset. So it won't reset and reinstall that. And this is a boolean actually, and I will make it as true. Now if I make it as true, you can see that the JSON object is also changing here. And let me save it. And then let me do a start session, and you see that it won't really install this application. Now let me just do a start session, and you see the same application is just opened as usual, and it is bit faster actually. You need to do also, you can put this capability while you are automating or you are writing the automation script also, and when you are using the app path actually, so that it won't install every time. So the same as usual way, there is no difference. I want to highlight this one, and also I want to click on this particular option actually here. Now if you just here you do that, and you see that couple of minor very small elements are visible here. So one is that tab, or you can do a send case. Let's say it's a text box, you can send some value, you can clear some value there, you can copy certain attributes, or you can get some timing of that. Let's say I want to tap it, and you can see that it literally goes to your simulator and it goes. Now if I open my simulator, you can see that new window appeared there. Let's say I'm doing here and I'm doing a login, and here I'm doing a refresh here, and then let's say that I want to enter some value. So this is the you can detect it, and if you click on that, let's say that I want to write something here, and then if I do a send case, it will enter the value inside this particular text box. Okay, let's say that you got this field. Okay, I copied this one, but how do I know that it is really identifying that or not? There is a way actually. So you can click on this small button as search, and here you can enter anything. Let's say that I want to do this and then do a search, and then you can see that it is identifying. If there are multiple elements are present, it would give all their element IDs, and when you click on that, it would highlight in your in your mirror view or the mocking screen here. So like this also different things you can do that. This inspector is really very handy whether you are using the Android or iOS applications, because if your application is not rendering with these elements, you cannot really automate the script actually, or you cannot write the automation testing. So that is why it is always good practice to come back here, try to identify this. If it is not available, you have to talk to your developer to add certain element attributes like your accessibility ID, name, ID, whatever these things it has to be, or some value. See, the value which I entered, it is coming here for verification. Let's say you want to use it. So these things are very handy actually here. So I think, yeah, that's pretty much it actually. Let me see if anything I missed. Yeah, Appium desktop is separated, and if you want to use the 1.x, you really don't want to install it from here. Yeah, there is one thing though I wanted to inform actually, and this is already documented here. Let me take you guys to there. So there is a web application version is also available, which is hosted by Appium Pro, and this particular website is maintained by the Jonathan Lips itself, who is founder of the Appium, or who is kind of a main contributor to this Appium project. Now if I go to this URL actually here, you can see there is an interactive web application window is also opening here, and it is very similar to our utility which I have installed or in my system. Let's say that you don't want to really install any utility, they are giving you this option as well. Same options, there is no difference. You can literally save everything. The only thing that I don't really think that if you really save anything, let's say that I want to type something, and then I'm saving this one to, let's say 1 2 3 and save. I think this is very specific to my like window only, like my browser session only. I don't know if I clear my cache and everything, it might not be really giving you these saved things. So I don't know that if that is available. And always make sure that you need to run your Appium server before you are doing a start session. Okay, so I think that is pretty much it about the Appium inspector. If you are using the Appium 2.0 version, 2.x version, whether it is beta or the proper release of that. Okay, so hope this session is useful. So stay tuned, we will be even seeing some interesting topics about Appium migration. So stay tuned for that, and do subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.